Here I am. Hey, everybody. It was a little slow bringing me into the stream. So I hope everybody's doing good. I am doing good. I'm doing awesome. I hope you've had a good week so far. Let me know if you hear me okay. I sound a bit loud on my end, but we'll see. Um, so we got back from our trip, or I should say, I got back from my trip on what was it, Monday, Tuesday. So I am glad to be back in the crib. Traveling is not my thing when it's like by yourself. It gets really boring when you're like driving by yourself. So I'm glad to be home. But it was great being able to hang out with Raz for a little while, even though our time was very different, very odd. So we're going to go ahead and give everybody a little bit of time to get in here, get everything shared out, guys. If you like to support your content artists, and I know times are tight for everybody. You're more than welcome to do stars if you can uh, see it within your means to do stars. It does help us support us on a monetary scale on the back end. But really, the best thing you can do is just share our content. It's absolutely free. If you've got any friends or what have you out there that you think might enjoy this. So it looks like we have Calvin. Hey, Calvin. Calvin says, Odd Mother. It's great to see you, Calvin. Glad you're here. And like I said, we're going to give it a little bit of time for folks to get in because I think it seems like the notifications might be running a little bit behind too. It still hadn't even popped up on my end. Did you get a notification, Calvin? Just by chance? I know Facebook's been acting kind of weird lately. Um, but yeah, so let's see, any house cleaning I need to do. All right, so as far as our trip, I know we talked about it last night for the people that tuned in for You Can't Sit With Us, the podcast that we do every other Thursday, which that will be moving to your whatever your podcast streamer you prefer, whether it be Spotify, iHeart, what have you. We will be going completely audio on that with the visual or video version coming out later. Um, and then we might do some specials on Twitch and things like that. D&D is going to be moved to every other Monday night, and that will be exclusive to Twitch. So if you don't have a Twitch account or whatever set up and you enjoy the D&D, then definitely get one set up before then. This coming up Monday will be Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat. And I don't know if we've got anything going on this weekend. I think Hexus might be doing a little bit of gaming over on Twitch. So let's see. Twitch, it popped up, but not on Facebook. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Facebook's been, I guess, all those layoffs they've been having. That tends to happen when you run all your users off. People tend to just go away, and then you have to let people go, which is really kind of sad. Um, but yeah, so that definitely sign up for our newsletter. We have been, well, I should say, the Pickwick Chamber of Commerce, Town Hall, Mayor, all them, all those government positions. They have, like I said, we worked out kind of a deal with them to get some rent in exchange for hosting some of their their worldwide web or interweb stuff for them. So we're going to do that on, but it's going to be through our newsletter. It's going to be through an aspect of our website that's not connected really to our website. So if you're not signed up for our newsletter, definitely go ahead and do that because they're going to be giving us they're going to be giving us a little extra content to throw in those newsletters. So that'll be a lot of fun, and that'll be directly coming from the Pickwick Post, so their local newspaper or whatever that they have out there. All right, so let's see. We've given everybody about 5 minutes to get in here. Hopefully, those Facebook notifications will go out. Like I said, please share, share, share. But we're going to be talking about a fun topic. Well, I don't want to know. I wouldn't say it was fun for everybody, but kind of a palate cleanser. I like to do these kind of funny, kind of dark comedy type feeds every so often to just kind of lighten the mood a little bit. So, and actually, this was something that was suggested by Odd Daughter. So, she had brought up a particular situation that happened back in 1986, and I was like, oh my gosh, this would be like the perfect topic for one of horror gallery streams. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off. And I know that it's unusual deaths is what we had or I had put in there in the stream as far as the topic. This right here is really kind of what inspired me to get this started. And we can't say for 100% sure if this particular situation actually caused deaths. They definitely could have hampered uh, the fact that if these people could have been saved. So maybe in an indirect way is responsible for some deaths. So yeah, we're gonna start off with that. Let's see, we've got Aki in the house. Let's see what we got here going on. He says, hey, Aki, if you could go ahead and share out. From what I understand from Calvin, I don't think that Facebook sent out all the notifications for whatever reason. If you could get that shared out, would be great, great, great. So let's go ahead and let's get started with this. So we're going to start out. For anybody that's ever heard of this, I had never heard of it. In all my 149 years, I had never heard of it. But it's called Balloon Fest of '86. Now, this actually, of course, happened in 1986. It was an event in Cleveland, Ohio, in which the local chapter of the United Way set a world record by releasing almost 1.5 million balloons. And you can find video footage of this. It's a lot more balloons than you think. It's a lot of balloons. The event took place on September 27th of 1986, like I said, and was intended to be a harmless fundraising publicity stunt. But the balloons drifted back over the city, Lake Erie, and landed in the surrounding area, causing problems for traffic and nearby airports. The event also interfered with the United States Coast Guard's search for two boaters who were later found dead. Now, whether this was just happenstance and these balloons kind of hampered the ability for them to be able to perform a rescue, I don't know. I don't know if, a wild band of balloons knocked these gentlemen out of a boat. I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't think they do either. Now, in consequence, the organizers and the city faced lawsuits seeking millions of dollars in damages and costs overrun to put the event at a net loss. So they got sued for more than they actually raised, which is kind of sad because, the United Way and all. Now, the stunt was coordinated by a Los Angeles-based company headed by Herb Heening, Balloon Art by Turb, which he spent 6 months preparing for it. Now, a rectangular structure the size of a city block was set up to hold the balloons on the southwest quadrant of Cleveland's public square, and it was basically just like a big net to hold the balloons in place. Now, inside, 2,500 volunteers, consisting largely of high school students, spent hours filling the balloons with helium. One described the preparations as like an assembly line, nonstop. Volunteers received free T-shirts for doing it. Now, the United Way originally planned to release 2 million balloons, but eventually stopped at over 1.4 million. Children sold sponsorships to benefit United Way at the price of $1 for every 2 balloons. Now, on that Saturday, the 27th, with a rainstorm approaching, the organizers decided on an early release of the balloons at about 1:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A crowd of over 100,000 gathered in downtown Cleveland for the event. Close to 1.5 million balloons, like I said, rose up from the public square surrounding Terminal Tower and surpassing a world record set the previous year on the 30th anniversary of Disneyland. Now, typically, helium-filled balloons or helium-filled latex balloons that are released outdoors will stay aloft long enough to be fully deflated before it descends to Earth. However, the Balloon Fest balloons collided with a front of cold air and rain, which caused them to drop towards the ground, still inflated. The descending balloons clogged the land and the waterways of Northeast Ohio, In the days following the event, many balloons were reported washed ashore on the Canadian side of Lake Erie, causing water pollution. Some people had the misconception about the environmental impact of the balloon release, thinking that the balloons would reach an altitude where they'd pop and disintegrate. Now, Burke Lakefront Airport had to shut down a runway for half an hour after a rogue band of balloons landed there. Traffic collisions were also reported as drivers swerved to avoid slow motion blizzards of multicolored orbs or took their eyes off the road to gawk at the overhead spectacle. So it was just an absolute balloon trash fire, is exactly what it was. Uh, Now, motorists on the Cleveland Memorial Storeway ran into fences and each other before the roadway was eventually shut down because of the balloon. A bulldozer was needed to clear away the balloon. Now, while this was going on, two fishermen, Raymond Broderick and Bernard Sulzer, who had gone out on September 26th, were both reported missing by their families on the day of the event. Rescuers spotted their 16-foot boat anchored west of the Edgewater Park breakwall. A Coast Guard search and rescue helicopter crew had difficulties reaching the area because of what they described as an asteroid field of balloons. A search and rescue boat crew tried to spot the fishermen floating in the lake, but guard officials said the balloons in the water made it impossible to see whether anyone was even in the lake. On September 29th, the Coast Guard suspended its search, and the fishermen's bodies eventually washed ashore. The wife of one of the fishermen sued the United Way of Cleveland and the company that organized the balloon release for $3.2 million and later settled on an undisclosed term, or amount, really. The balloons landed on a pasture in Medina County, Ohio, spooking Louis Nowakiasiki Nowakowiski's Arabian horses, which allegedly suffered permanent injuries as a result. Now, he sued the United Way of Cleveland for $100,000 in damages, and he too settled for an undisclosed term. The fundraiser really lost money due to all these lawsuits. Now, in 1988, the edition of the Guinness Book of World Records recognized the event as a world record, largest ever mass balloon release, with a 1,429,643 balloons launched. Now, because of the damage caused, Guinness no longer measures environmentally unsound events like balloon releases for like world records. Now, the Balloon Fest 86 was the subject of a 2018 short documentary film by the name of, can you guess it? Balloon Fest. So I thought that would be a good one to start off. I had never heard of this, but it sounds like it was not only very colorful, but quite an experience. Quite an experience. So let's see what's going on in the comments real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. And this will be actually the death of a car. So the unusual death of a car. And I was going to try to get a video of it, but I just ran out of time because that would have been great to be able to show you guys some video footage of this. And some of you may actually recognize it when we get into the actual topic. But let's see what's going on in the comments real quick. Hang on just a second. So Akia says that was the year she was born. Woohoo, you were born the year of the Balloon Fest. You're under the astrological sign of the balloon. And then Frank says, hello. Hi, so glad you're here. Apparently, Facebook decided to either delay their notifications or just not send them at all. And one of the reasons, guys, this is one of the reasons why we're trying to kind of get everybody set up on other platforms because Facebook is, we all kind of knew it was coming, but Facebook is just kind of slowly turning into a non functioning trash fire. So to have other accounts where you guys can find us, where we can share stuff that they don't like us sharing over here, as well as our website. And we are going to be doing that watch party very soon, probably Tuesday. So I missed this Tuesday because of the trip. Everything was so crazy. But we'll get on that. So definitely, if you haven't gotten with your closest cult member to get the password to our members only area, definitely do that because you won't want to miss the non-censored movies. So they'll be a lot of fun. Let's see, we've got Mike in the house. Hi, Mike. How are you? He says hello. All right, and then it looks like Frank is multitasking. He's playing, oh, I'm so jealous, Redfall. Oh my goodness. And then watching me as well. So he's multitasking. You've got to let me know how Redfall is. I've been hearing a lot of advertisements for it, and it sounds like it would be really cool. And then let's see what Calvin has to say. So Calvin says, I thought the movie The Birds was bad. You should have been there when the great balloon attack in '86 happened. Killer balloons everywhere. It definitely sounds like it was a sight to see. I mean, I hate that people got hurt, but I'm sorry, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And then Frank says, "Death of a car." What? No hard-boiled eggs on the stick? No, that's what you guys. Okay, so we're gonna stop what we're doing right now. Everybody, go boil eggs and put them on a skewer. Okay, and you guys have got to be eating boiled eggs while you watch it. That is now the required food of the horror gallery. And yes, I would agree. Facebook is a twat waffle. Then we have Natasha. Hello, Natasha. So glad you are here. We are talking about unusual deaths, not always human or humanoid. We'll be talking about the death of a car here in just a moment. But it was caused by an organic uh, life form. So, and then let's see. Frank says we've created accounts for the game at the moment and trying to figure out uh, let's see how to cross play between my PC and Xbox. I got you. I got you. And then Frank says, "You boiled eggs and buy our yes. You go boil eggs and buy our shit." Exactly. Exactly. All right. So let's get on to the next topic. And like I said, there's probably quite a few of you guys that will recognize what story we're talking about. But you can't talk about this kind of stuff without actually bringing up this particular situation. All right. So on November 9th of 1970, a 45-foot long sperm whale washed ashore at Florence on the central Oregon coast. The weight of the carcass was estimated at 8 short tons. And at the time, Oregon beaches were under the jurisdiction of the state highway division, which, after consulting with the United States Navy, decided to remove the whale using dynamite. Assuming that the resulting pieces would be small enough for scavenger animals to basically eventually consume. They were hoping to just basically kind of disintegrate this large sperm whale into bunches of little bitty pieces of blubber so that, the crabs and the birds and all that kind of stuff would take care of it. Now, George Thornton, the engineer in charge of the operation, told an interviewer that he was not sure how much dynamite would be needed, saying that he had been chosen to remove the whale because his supervisor had gone hunting. Now, a change or a charge of 1/2 short ton of dynamite was selected. That's 450 kilograms of dynamite. Now, a military veteran with explosive training who happened to be in the area warned that the planned 20 cases of dynamite was far too much and that 20 sticks or 8 pounds would have been sufficient, but his advice went unheeded. I guess they just thought the bigger the better. The bigger boom, the better. Now, the dynamite was detonated on November 12th at 3:45 p.m. The resulting explosion was caught on film by the cameraman Doug Brazil for a short report by the news reporter Paul Lineman of KATU TV in Portland, Oregon. And you can just type in whale explosion or exploding whale, and you can find the footage on this. Now, in his voiceover, Lineman joked that the landlubber newsman became a land blubber newsman for the blast blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds. The explosion caused large pieces of blubber to land near buildings and in parking lots some distance away from the beach. Only some of the whale was actually disintegrated. Most of it remained on the beach for the Oregon Highway Division workers to clear away. It just basically kind of just flew a big chunk out of it. Now, in his report, Lineman also noted that scavenger birds who they had hoped would eat the remains of the carcass after the explosion did not appear, as they were probably scared away by the noise. I mean, even birds understand that most whales, even dead whales, don't explode of their own accord. Even though it has been reported, it happened in some Asian country. They had a whale wash up and it exploded on its own. Now, the explosive expert veteran's brand new automobile purchased during a great whale of a deal promotion in a nearby city, his car was flattened by a chunk of falling blubber. So there's for the death of a car, and it flattened that car. Like, it was completely totaled. Ending his story, Lineman noted that it might be concluded that should a whale ever be washed ashore in Lane County again, those in charge will not only remember what to do, they'll certainly remember what not to do. And I like I said, again, I would definitely suggest you guys watching that video because it is pretty hilarious. So so now we're going to get into some actual deaths of actual humans. And there are lists and lists and lists of these things out there, but I tried to pull up some that were just super unique. I guess as far as deaths are related, definitely some of these would fall into like the Darwin category. So yeah, so we're going to get to that, but I think what we're going to do real quick is we're going to go to a small commercial break, and then we're going to get to the comments, and then we'll get on with these because I want to make sure we don't end too soon. So I thought I had enough, but we've gone through these pretty fast.
Yeah. Hello, all you beautiful people out there. It's your boy Sleepy. And when I'm not guzzling down gallons and gallons of amazing ice cream, yes, oh, I love ice cream. Oh, hang on. I'm watching PBDC TV. Now, back to the show, all you beautiful people. And remember, stay nasty.
All right, and we're back. So let's see if we've got any other comments that we need to go over real quick, and then we're going to go ahead. So Frank says, great footage. It absolutely is. It is some phenomenal footage. If you have not seen it, because basically, like, everybody's like cheering, like, woo woo, And then because like you see all these pieces of blubber like go flying up into the air, and nobody really understands the concept of what's getting ready to happen. Like they see all the bloody pieces go up. Well, what goes up must come down. And because so much dynamite was used, it didn't come down where it went up. It came down further away. And so you start hearing like little wet slaps of like this pieces of this whale like hitting the ground and hitting people. Like there were some people injured, not as bad as the car. That's one of the things the article said. Nobody was hurt as bad as the car. So and the car was crushed. So yeah, so there's that. But everybody kind of pretty much went screaming for their lives. And even the cameraman or the Mr. Lineman or whatever was saying there was like nobody that watched it that had not that wasn't covered in blubber in one way or the other. So yeah, it's just funny. You've got to check it out. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Let's see what Frank's got to say. Let's see. Would drowning in a blow up pool while wearing dark sunglasses and what takes floating in and around you be something like the Darwin Award? I would think so. But you've got to rub the steaks on you first before you can like let them float around you. That's really the only proper way to do it. Yeah, and there really probably should be like somebody on the sidelines eating boiled eggs. Grape flavored boiled eggs would be preferable. So yes, I would agree. Let's see, and rode the shockwave. All right, so let's get into this. These are pretty cute. All right, so these I didn't do like really really old ones. These mostly took place in the 1990s and the 2000s. There's a few of them that I actually like put the year in there, but you can find these. Wiki's got a whole list of unusual deaths that go way back, way back. So this was about an Anthony Hensley, 37, was killed by a swan while kayaking across the pond at a residential complex in Des Plaines, Illinois. Now, after getting too close to the bird's nest, the swan attacked him, threw him out of the kayak, and prevented him from resurfacing, where he ultimately drowned. So, could you imagine, like, if you could look in the book of life, or would it technically be the book of death? The way that you go out is you go out due to swan drowning. After the swan like kicked you out of your own kayak. I mean, I know swans can be pretty dangerous, but I didn't know they could like remove you from your own boat, especially kayak, because you usually have to zip yourself up in those things. All right, so the father of two, a Brian Depledge, 38, was home alone, placing wet laundry on a clothing horse. So I'm assuming this was probably like not in the United States because I've never heard a clothesline called a clothes horse. Maybe somebody else has. It is a type of drying rack. When he accidentally tripped over a small stool and fell backwards into the rack, trapping himself. Now, authorities state it appeared he attempted to free himself from the laundry horse, but the struggle only caused the rungs to tighten around his chest and neck even more. Now, the coroner, a Professor Paul Mark, remarked that his death was probably rarer than being struck by lightning or struck by a meteorite. That reminds me of like, what is it, Final Destination? Like one of those kind of deaths, one of those weird, wacky, please don't tell anybody how I died kind of death. All right, and then moving on to the next one. An unnamed woman from Gatineau, Canada, I hope I pronounced that right, 25, and an unnamed 40-year-old man from Ottawa were killed in an accident on a rural Quebec road when a flying bear collided with their SUV. The 440-pound black bear was sent airborne by a car in front of the SUV after it had stepped into the path of the traffic on Highway 148. The bear passed through the windshield, hitting the driver and the passenger sitting behind her before passing through the rear window. The driver's boyfriend, who was in the front passenger seat, he did receive injuries to his upper body, which were described as non-life threatening. Now, to say the bear also died. So that is that. Death by flying bear. That poor bear. Oh my God. You go over a car, in through a windshield, all the way through the car, and out the back windshield before you even come to any type of hopefully stationary stop. I mean, I imagine at this point it was just a fur covered piece of meat. All right. So, Welsh mathematician and GCHQ spy Gareth Williams, 31, was found dead and naked in a bag that had been padlocked from the outside in the bath of his home in central London. Now, the inquest found his death was likely criminal, although eventually the Metropolitan Police investigation later found that it was likely an accident. Try to figure that one out. Try to wrap your head around that one. I mean, I get the whole like, asphyxiation and you accidentally choke yourself out and die. But how do you put yourself in a bag naked with a padlock on it from the outside in the bath of your home and it be ruled an accident? I say cover up. But now he was a spy. So, they may literally have tried to just cover it up. All right, let's go to some comments real quick because I see a couple of them coming by here. And then we'll get to a couple of these other ones. All right, Frank laughing. Let's see, laughing at our show last night. Oh my God! If you guys, I tell you what, I think we were all just super, super tired. If you did not get a chance to check out, You Can't Sit With Us, go back and watch it. I mean, we start going down so many tangents, but it was absolutely hilarious. Like my sides hurt when we finished up last night. I had been laughing so hard. Yes, yes. The bear barely stopped. Exactly. Poor bear. Could you imagine the look on the bear's face when he got hit? I mean, like, it must have happened all so fast. All right. So I think that's it on that one. All right. So let's move on to the next one. David Fall, Phyall. So file maybe. 50. Was the last resident in a block of flats due to the demolition in Bishopstroke near Southampton, England. Now, he wound up decapitating himself with a chainsaw to highlight the injustice of being forced to move out of the building. It's kind of a permanent like thing for like a temporary situation or permanent solution to a temporary situation. Yeah, kind of like the guy. I don't know if you've ever seen the late 1960s, early 1970s footage of the guy that burned himself alive. Like he's dead, like he died, but he burned himself alive out of protest for the war. I think it was the war for Vietnam War. He burned himself alive. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not making good life decisions. Let's not do that. All right. So Alberto Fargo of Lisbon, Portugal, died from falling out of a 5-story window while performing the tango. According to witnesses, Fargo was demonstrating to his students how to keep their head high by looking at the ceiling while doing the tango, yet he failed to notice the open window beside him and basically fell out of a 5-story building. Yeah. Again, these are what not to do. These are like, in some cases, just not thinking things through, not thinking things through at all. Now, in 1988, a poodle named Casey in Caballito, Buenos Aires. Now, this, I guess, is this is the death of a couple of things. Of Buenos Aires fell 13 floors and hit a lady by the name of Marta Espina, 75, which killed both instantly. In the course of the event, Edith Sola, 46, came to see the incident and was fatally hit by a bus. An unidentified man who witnessed her death then had a heart attack, who also died on his way to the hospital. So please be careful. Be careful out there. And a pensioner who was killed in a freak accident when he was struck by a flying cow launched 100 feet into the air by an express train. Now, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce this, Shividala Shamara, 82, was reportedly urinating next to a train track in the region of Alwar, India, when the freak incident occurred on April 19th. The animal was hit by basically the express train before landing on Mr. Shamara. So yeah, that would teach us don't urinate on the side of a express train or high-speed train track. Not probably a good idea. Now, this occurred in 2022. A 28-year-old man in Rancho Bernardo, San Diego, California, is believed to have been using a knife. This is what I was talking about, Hexes. This is what I was talking about. Was thought to be using a knife to mix protein powder into a container of water while driving. The man lost control and crashed into a parked car. When he struck the parked car, his car's airbag propelled the knife into his neck, fatally injuring him. In addition to the two vehicles, 4 other cars were involved in the accident, with, however, the stabbed man being the only casualty. So yeah, be careful with knives. Be careful with knives, especially driving with knives while stirring your basically powdered drinks, your power drink. So let's see what's going on in the comments real quick, and then we'll get back to this one. We don't have a whole lot left. Yes. So Calvin says last night it was squirrels everywhere. Yeah, we were just having a good time. Oh my goodness, we had so much fun last night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did. We definitely did. And then let's see. Natasha said, "I heard Shemamara, or did I hear Shemamara? Did I hear Shemamara? You may have. I have a way of absolutely butchering some words, so it's very, very possible. And then let's see. Frank says, "Don't pee on the electric fence." Yes, that's always a good thing to know too. And I'm sure that there are probably on that list of unusual deaths a few people that probably that's why we know this. Okay. So where were we at? Okay, we covered the man stabbing himself in the throat with the knife because of the airbag. All right, so on October 21st, and I believe this was in 2001, a 30-year-old Brazilian man was fishing with 2 friends at a lake in, oh my word, I'm going to try, Brasilia de Minas in Brazil. It's basically a lake in Brazil. When the group was attacked by bees, which sounds terrifying in itself, because if I'm not mistaken, like, isn't that where a lot of those killer bees come? It's like from South America and stuff. So anyway, they were attacked by bees. He and his friend, however, jumped into the lake to escape the bees. That probably was pretty much like jumping from the pan into the fire, because the man not only drowned, but he drowned because he was partially eaten by piranhas. However, his friend did survive. So I don't know which would have been the worst. I would have probably taken the bees over the piranhas any day. Stephen Yotak, 74, was decorating his family's grave plot at St. Joseph's Cemetery in Throop, Pennsylvania for Easter with his wife when the tombstone of his mother-in-law toppled over and pinned him beneath and crushing him to death. The stone had supposedly, supposedly been dislodged by his mother-in-law's ghost. No, 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 not really. But the stone had supposedly been dislodged when the previous frozen ground was thawed by the early spring temperatures. So, which can happen, the contraction and retraction of the ground. Now, Wotak was, however, buried in a plot directly in front of the tombstone that killed him, so that him and his mother-in-law can argue for all of eternity. So, we do not know if the wife was involved. Just joking. Just joking. All right. Oh my God, this was a great one. This was a great one. All right. So a 70-year-old woman in India was trampled to death by an elephant. Her corpse was then bizarrely attacked by the same beast at her funeral. Now, police said that Maya Murmu had been fetching water from a well in the eastern India state of Odisha on Thursday when an elephant came barreling towards her. The elephant had apparently escaped from the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, which is located in a neighboring state. So it traveled a long way, is kind of what it sounds like. The elephant trampled the woman, who ultimately died of her injuries at the nearby hospital. Now, Murmuru's family was then performing her last rites before lighting the funeral pyre when the same elephant allegedly returned and grabbed her body. The animal threw the corpse into the air and then ran away. Now, apparently, the family, however, was able to continue with the ceremony, and the elephant did not return. So we don't know what happened. I have so many questions. What happened to the elephant? And why did he hate this woman so bad? I mean, it's one thing to trample like the person to death, but then defile her at her own funeral by grabbing her body and throwing it up in the air. I mean, what was he trying to say? What was he really trying to say here? And you know what, guys? That's all I got. I'm spent. That's it. That's all I got. So let's see what's going on in the comments. And it looks like we may be ending a little early tonight, which may not be a bad thing because apparently I'm still suffering from whatever it was I was suffering from last night. So let's see what's going on in the comments. Yes, again, more people were saying squirrels everywhere. Yes, that is exactly what we were doing. And then Calvin says, and if you do pee on the electric fence, you won't do it again. Either A, you physically won't be able to do it again, or B, you won't have the tools necessary in order to do it again. That would be very similar to grape-flavored boiled eggs on a stick afterward. And then Frank says, out here in California, we call that the hot Carl. Is that what you I think out here we call that the hey guys, watch this. Or hey guys, hold my beer. All right, guys. Well, that is all I've got. You know me, I usually am long-winded and we tend to go over. But it looks like we're gonna be a little short tonight. So unless you guys have any other things that you want to talk about or anything like that, because I am more than happy to hang around here for the next 15 minutes. If you guys can put up with me. All right, so Calvin says, sounds like the elephant hated her for some reason. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I get it. I get it. Like you do every so often meet somebody you just don't like. You've never met him before. You just look at him and you say, I don't like that person. I don't know what it is. I just can't stand that person. That is the only thing I can figure that happened here. It didn't, unless she actually worked at the animal sanctuary. Maybe that is the story they should have been reporting on. Yeah, yeah. is called like Elephant Revenge or something, kind of like Gladiator, you know, like she thought she had killed the elephant, but she really hadn't. And he disappeared for a little while. And then he was able to escape and come back and take his revenge, at the end. And then he disappears and nobody ever sees him again. So maybe that's what the real story was. And then Frank says, "Great show." Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, apparently I am still suffering from the silly. I don't know. It might have something to do with those great flavored boiled eggs I ate. You guys don't want to be around later, that's for sure. And then we've got Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you? And he says, you just look at them and you say, maybe she wouldn't give the elephant any water. Maybe, I don't know. But the way it sounded like he just came crashing out of the bushes, not like Jungle Book where he like came up and was like wanting water. She was like, no, go away, you filthy animal. And he just like wouldn't take it, and like beat her up and stomped all over. But I don't know. It's possible, Sean. It's very possible. But he really took that like really personal. Like he was super offended by that. Like he must have waited and hid in those bushes until he knew that the family was going to have that funeral service, and then just came trampling. It's like, hey guys, hold my beer, watch this. And then he just like takes off and grabs her body off the funeral pyre before they light it, throws her up in the air, and then just you hear him maniacally laughing as he runs away. That's probably what happened. That's what I'm saying happened. So, but it could have been caused by water. Who knows? Who knows? All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I had a great time. And I will see you guys back, not this coming up Friday or next Friday, but the Friday after that. And again, I don't know what my topic's going to be. Definitely go on our website, which is psychobunnydc.com. Sign up for our newsletter so you know what's going on in Pickwick. Because, like I said, they're going to be sharing some extra content with us in those newsletters. And I think there'll be a link in there to actually be able to get to their stuff. Then again, because we were on our trip, don't forget this coming up Tuesday after Spooky Tales with Steve the Cat on Monday at 10 p.m. We're going to be doing the uncensored cult classic movie over there in the members only area, which is free. You just have to get with your nearest cult member in order to get the password. And join us for that next Tuesday. That starts at 10 p.m. sharp. And then, of course, chit chat with a call on Wednesday. Thursday, we will be doing D&D, our second episode for our first campaign, and that will be Twitch exclusive. So get you some Twitch over there so you can join us. And then Roost Bleed Red on Friday. So yeah, I think I've got everybody covered. I think I mentioned everybody. So yeah, do that. There's something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. Oh, all right, Discord. Go ahead and when you're at our website, signing up for our newsletter, and also purchasing your Monocaster through our link, since we are an affiliate with Monocaster. If you are interested or you are doing podcasts and you want to up your game on your audio, yeah, and see, then you can do like really cool stuff like this. So really cool system. Everything comes together. Very, very affordable. I think I got the whole setup, all the cords, everything, the microphone. And microphones, they can tend to be expensive all in themselves. I think I paid $169 for the full setup, cash tag, tag, titles, hats, everything. But if you go through our Monocaster link, you'll get 10% off by using all uppercase PBunnyDC. For your discount code, you can save 10% on setup like we've got here. So yeah, do that. But join our Discord. If you're interested in seeing me cover a certain topic, or we want me to look into a topic, like I said, if the topic not extremely lengthy, then I will have to save it when I've got a few of the smaller episodes together and do those kind of shows. But yeah, if there's something I haven't covered yet and you are interested in something, join our Discord, be part of the conversation, and I've got a section in there where you can request certain topics. We can talk about certain topics, things like that. So yeah, so there. I think I covered everything this time. I'm going to take my silliness and I am going to go back to my coffin I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I am going to wish you guys pleasant nightmares. Bye, guys.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.